Hello my friends, that's me, Robbie from accenttorenchi.com, and currently I'm on the mission to learn new 50 American phrases and add them onto my active vocabulary. What the active vocabulary part means, it basically means that I have to be able to use those phrases as part of my speech. It doesn't just do the trick to learn them and being able to recognize them when reading or hearing. I also have to be able to use them, basically, to utilize all that newly acquired phraseology when speaking with other people or just being engaged in these self-practice sessions. That's my goal, that's my aim, that's what I'm shooting for, and I'm quite hopeful that by the end of the mission I'll be able to record a long video, a very lengthy video, where I'm going to be speaking with myself, obviously, and using all 50 phrases. And today's phrase is to draw a blank. And to draw a blank simply means not be able to remember something. Let's say you're asked something, a person asks you a question, and instead of providing them with a response, you just draw a blank, which means your mind just blanks out and you can't provide the necessary response. And the context for that phrase in the book, I read it at that time, was he drew a blank. Basically, a boy was asked something, it was gone series fiction, and all the adults had disappeared. They were simply gone. Hence the title of the whole series, Gone. And only teenagers and kids and everyone below the age of 15 remained in that particular town. Perdido Beach it was called, and it was enclosed in a massive gigantic dome 20 miles in diameter, and obviously anyone would have been either a kid, a toddler, or a teenager. So that's why I said a boy, because if it was he, it was obviously a boy. He couldn't be a grown-up man, because all men, women, elderly people, they had all just vanished into a thin air. And currently I'm on the last book in the series, and I have to tell you, it's one of the most exciting books I've ever read. Seriously. But then again, it happens the same way with every next book or series of books. You see, the thing is, nowadays you can hardly acquire a book which is only a standalone book. There's always a follow-up, a sequel, the third book in the series, and so on and so forth. And in this particular case, there are 6 books in the Gone series, but they're so exciting that, seriously, even if there were 30 books in the series, I would definitely read them all, because the author, Michael Grant, is definitely real artist, and he knows how to write in a very captivating manner, so that to hold the reader's attention throughout all the books, and basically it's very exciting, and yeah, he knows what he's doing, and he knows how to write in a very, very exciting manner, you know. But anyway, going back to the phrase, the context was he drew a blank, and the boy was asked a question and he couldn't respond. He drew a blank, which means he couldn't respond. He didn't know what to say. He had just forgotten it all. Now that's how you use this phrase to describe when someone couldn't respond to a question he or she was asked. He drew a blank, or she drew a blank. Exactly this particular sequence of words. He or she drew a blank, because that's how you would most likely use the phrase. But the most likely situation when you'll be using this phrase is going to be a storytelling situation whereby you tell what happened to someone else. He drew a blank. My mom asked my brother where he'd put the $50 she'd given to him the previous day, because she only gave him the $50 note because she didn't have any smaller banknotes in her wallet, and he promised to only spend $20 out of that banknote and give the rest of the money, the remainder, back to mom. And when she asked him where's the rest of the money, he just drew a blank. He couldn't respond, because obviously he was guilty of spending all the money. He blew all the money, and he drew a blank. he couldn't respond with anything, which in this particular case was a telltale sign of his guilt, the fact that he couldn't say anything, respond with anything reasonable. Had he had a genuine reason for not being able to give the remainder back to mom right away, he would have said something. He would have said something like, I gave that money to someone else, someone borrowed that money from me, they'll give it back to me the next day, and then I'll return it to you, or whatever. But he just drew a blank. So sometimes drawing a blank is a clear sign, a clear indication of person's guilt, But sometimes it's genuine forgetfulness, inability to say something that you're asked. Say, for instance, teacher calls you during a lesson to answer a question, and she asks you, what was the year the American Civil War began? And then you might draw a blank, despite the fact that you learned everything about the Civil War the previous day, and you did some home reading about Civil War. All of a sudden, when you are asked that sudden question, especially in front of an audience, you just blank out and you draw a blank. You are not capable of responding in a logical way. And it's all about the stress, It's all because you are so stressed out that you just draw a blank whenever there's something more specific involved in the question. Alright, thanks for watching this video, and see you tomorrow again. Bye-bye.